Carson City Parks and Rec Commission meeting, and we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 5:31. Can we get a roll call?
Chair Walt,
Here.
Vice Chair Whitefield, Commissioner Baker Roberts, Commissioner Cartwright, Commissioner McDermott, Commissioner Meyer, Commissioner Schutte.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Great, thank you. And now we'll go ahead and ask for public comment. The public is invited at this time to comment on or discuss any topic that is relevant to or within the authority of the Parks and Rec Commission. Do we have any public comment? Please sign in and go ahead and step forward. And when you do, you'll need to press the button to make that red ring go green. There you go.
Checking. Okay. My name is Charles Norrie. And I'm on the board of, the Board of Muscle Powered, and also on OSAC committee. I'm here to speak in favor of the bike park at Centennial. I guess just to approve the master plan. Starting off with a small section of the bike park, but expanding into something around 5 or 6 acres. I think this is a worthy project for Parks and Rec to do. I think it is in keeping with the mission, I believe anyway, Parks and Rec and OSAC, and of course Muscle Powered. As far as Carson City is, to promote fitness and vitality and movement and skills. And also I think that this park, the topography of Centennial Park is, I think, nearly perfect for the outlay of what really could be a world-class bike park. And with the signing on, I suppose, of some pretty large names in the biking community, it could very well be one of the finest bike parks in a long area. I don't want to just advocate for the bike park because every other town has one, or sometimes two. But I think that it is totally a worthy project for this city. And I'll finish by saying, if we learn and apply the lessons of the past for maintenance of such a facility, then I think that this can be done by the city without any financial burden on the city. And I'll be the first one to volunteer for maintenance. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We have that on record. So thank you very much. Any other public comment? Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. For the record, Erin Larson, I'm the volunteer coordinator for Carson City Parks, Recreation, and Open Space. And I'm just here to let everybody know that our department will be hosting a volunteer appreciation event again this year. And it'll be Saturday, October 25th from 3 to 6 p.m. at Silver Saddle Ranch. It's free and it's open to anybody who's volunteered for our department before. We'll have food and games and awards. Our rangers will be doing wildlife walks, so it'll be really fun. So I invite you all to join. And I left some flyers on the back as well if anybody would like to take one. Thank you.
Good evening, Jim Fazer. I'm the president of Carson City Little League, and here tonight in support of the Centennial Park Master Plan. It's one thing that I've seen in my probably about 10 years involved in youth sports in this region, that we don't have enough playing fields for the youth in our communities. So with our 500 plus kids that we run out in the springtime and about 200 in the fall, kind of working with those field spaces with Pop Warner and kind of what I see soccer have to navigate at their levels. I think it's pretty vital that we continue to implement more youth playing fields. So from what I see from the master plan here, it looks like there's some components of that on the lower level, which is very welcoming, and we support that. Myself as a member of the community and kind of an organization leader here for a youth sports organization, we look forward to future improvements out there. So thank you.
Good evening. My name's Emily Kuhlman, and I'm one of the coaches for the NICA mountain biking team in Carson City. I am also a volunteer and have been with Carson Girls Softball, so I am also here to speak in support of, I believe it's 5E, so the Centennial Master Plan, those turf fields, and bringing out youth tournaments to Carson. I mean, we've all spent time in a lot of other communities on those turf fields where they can play year-round instead of here, and we'd love to see it locally. And then the bike park is really important to me and our kids. It promotes a lot of different things, the health and wellness, but that tourism and the economic impact that it will have are huge as well. My family alone, a family of 5, we go up to the Truckee Bike Park, to the South Tahoe Bike Park. We spend time there, we stay in a hotel, we eat at a restaurant, and we do different things that we would love to be doing here instead. The other things that it can kind of help with that haven't been touched upon is that community engagement, the environmental benefits when it comes to more people out on bikes. We love to see that. As we continue to grow in population, that demand for recreation is huge. So it's something that you're seeing all across the country. They're bringing more and more, not just trails and the trail building in, but those bike parks as well to touch all the different levels. I was at up on the hill last night at practice, and we saw a little kid on a strider at the bottom of Jackrabbit trying to maneuver, and it would be great to have somewhere where he could go that was just a little pump track or something smaller to really hit every stage of that development, from the kids to the adults that still want to go out and play on bikes. So thank you for your consideration.
Okay, yes, go ahead. And if any others, you can go ahead and start sitting up and just sign in and.
For the record, Dan Thornton, and I'm a board member with Muscle Powered and the founder of Ride Carson City. I sort of stumbled into this project a couple years ago, but I found out that this has been actually going now. We're in the 8th year of advocating for a bike park for Carson City. So actually from 2017, and that was, and it is in that area that we would be looking at doing phase 1. It's just, I saw that was Ryan Robusto, the little guy out there yesterday on the Strider bike. It was so rad, and that's the beauty of this park. And I really think, like, my kids don't bike. I'm gonna ride like the beginner stuff. I'm not doing this for me, honestly. I'm doing it for our community. It's a shared space. It's bringing people together in a really healthy way that gets people off of screens. Right? You can't be on a screen. You can take a picture when you're stopped, but really you can't like be on your phone while you're, on a bike. So I think for workforce development, it will help us hire people that want to live in a place that has the kind of amenities that a premier bike park can bring. And it'll help us retain workers instead of them moving away because they don't have the opportunities that they would like. So I think that there are a million different reasons why, and I could go on forever. What I really want to say is that I tremendously value the amount of work that Carson City and Nick and Jen and the staff have put into the Centennial Park Master Plan. It is a huge undertaking, and I understand it. And it was it was hard to be patient, but I do think that approving this will be something that will allow Carson City to level itself up, to take us to another level. And I think that you'll find that there's a lot of people that advocate for that same position. So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, for the record, I'm Charles Turner. I'm here again, support of the bike park. I just wanted to add basically everything, reiterating what these guys said. I'm on the tail end of my mountain bike career, so it is selfish. I do like to do it, but I do feel like the youth need something to keep pulling them outside and doing things. We have a big growing community that they draw from the schools, and that's a really good program for the kids, and more area and space for them to play in is a really good thing. The other thing is, I do think for economic development, I know there are some other bike parks around here, but most of them are up at the lake and higher elevations, so it is a seasonal thing to where a lot of the people that would like to continue to participate could come down here and it'd be more of a full season. So there'd be other people coming around here from out of the area, which is a good thing too. So not just selfishly for me or for this community, but for the surrounding areas as well. So hopefully things can progress, and I'd be more than happy to volunteer too, time, some money, because I think that we're gonna have to do this kind of grassroots and let the community that likes to volunteer and donate kind of spearhead this project, so it's not a burden economically as well. Thank you.
For the record, I'm Josh Billings. I have lived in Carson City for a long time. I'm a longtime mountain biker, and I've coached mountain biking, and I've coached a lot of different sports. I've been in education for over 20 years in Carson City School District. Currently, I work at Carson High as a vice principal. And one of the things I always look for when I'm engaging students is that one opportunity, and sometimes you don't know what that opportunity is. I always like to say, you know what happens when you don't try. And I don't know what the barriers are to the bike part, but I am a strong proponent for this for all the reasons given. I'd like us to think about the financial impact of the epic rides. Now, that might be a good thing, and that might be a bad thing for some of us, but in my recollection, those were huge community events where we had lots of people staying in hotels, going to restaurants, and for a mountain biker and my friends, we had a really great time, and the community really benefited from that. I really see this bike park, and it's been said that every town has a bike park. Well, that's absolutely not true. We have some version of a bike park, and we have lots of really great world-class mountain bike trails here, but a bike park is something a little bit different. It's a place where you can hone your skills, you can actually build jumps and or obstacles that really you can learn a lot of different skills. And it's like it's been said before, a place for the bike community to come together. And I think it would really draw upon this region because it's one of the things, I'm not sure if it's been said, but this location could be year round. And that's really important because a lot of these jumps, they have to be completely covered because any kind of track in the wintertime with rain or that kind of a thing would completely ruin the track. And that's one of the beauties I see of Centennial Park. I've ridden out at Centennial Park many times, and I'm sure you guys have been out there many times. And clearly there's a very good mountain bike trail, but we're talking about a very finely manicured, well-built, well-planned, and according to your plan, something that would be really beneficial to our town. So I'm a very strong proponent for this. And we always know what happens when we don't try. That's the same thing I say in education. So thank you for trying.
Hi, Zach Blumberg for the record. I am a Carson City resident and I am in strong support of the bike park at Centennial. I just want to, everything that everyone has said before me is great points. It'd be a year-round facility, draw people from all over the place to Carson. One thing that I do want to touch upon is having reviewed the master plan, I just want to say that the bike park and the drainage considerations at Centennial are not mutually exclusive activities. I think the bike park could potentially be incorporated into the drainage. I just don't think that making large detention facilities for stormwater drainage should exclude bike park activities. So that's just something that I think to have a larger area for the bike park, because the little parcel that was set aside for the bike park within the master plan, I think is too small to have a legitimate bike park, and the terrain of that parcel is also not well suited to a bike park. So I just want the committee here to consider all available options and to have the opportunity to build the biggest, best bike park that can be made at Centennial. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yeah, sign in is, yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name's Rob. I live here in Carson City, work at RCI, and I just wanted to voice my, I'm in support of the bike park as well, and I think it could be part of a a bigger picture of building a community that's structured around bike commuting. I don't mountain bike myself, but I do commute by choice on my bike for most everything. And I think having a bike park and having something accessible that's year round can be part of building a culture around uh, getting kids on bikes, getting adults on bikes, getting everybody on bikes, whether they're electric or not. And I would love to see that plan come to fruition. And that's all.
Excuse me, I think we did not get your last name.
Oh.
Can,
Fuller.
thank you. All right, any additional public comment? Okay.
Hello, my name's Ronnie Schoaf. I live in Reno, and I am a mountain bike coach, and my business is Battleborn Prodigies. A lot of the stuff that other people mentioned were great points, and I kind of just wanted to add a few of them since I am a coach and I have worked within other areas and parks, and I think it's also important that this area has a future plan and development for a bike park, not only for kids and adults, but for future athletes. They need places to train. Besides Woodward at Tahoe, there's not a lot of other world-class training facilities for athletes that are up and coming. As somebody who had to build our own jumps as a kid and not have an official park, there's missed opportunities. And having an official park and properly built structures that you can teach on and safely progress will really help the sport and the community have future events. Really bringing other parts of businesses together. For example, a bike park can bring in people from outside areas that may not have these facilities by them. So I commuted all the time to Woodward to use their foam pit because that was the only one accessible. I know that may be a far reach having those things, but an airbag, I think, will definitely speed up some of this learning curve in the future. So I kind of just wanted to mention that as well. That stuff can be moved and transported, doesn't have to be at one solid location. So as the future development occurs, I think having that system as well could bring some great progress for riders and athletes trying to really push the limit. I've been watching other bike parks being built, Sky Tavern, City of Reno, Sierra Vista Bike Park, the Truckee Bike Park, Incline Bike Park, the one in South Lake as well. They all have their own little niche thing, but one thing that this area could bring is year-round, like other people were mentioning, which I feel is huge. I would come down here in the winter and train and not have to necessarily go to high desert all the time if there's a facility here. I just wanted to kind of bring that up and mention those topics. So again, thank you for your time.
Would you make sure to sign in? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, anyone else? Yes, go ahead. Come on up. And do we know?
I'm Shannon Foley. I am a citizen of Carson City, live here, work here. I love to recreate. Doesn't matter what it is outside, I love being outside and doing it. I personally have struggled with depression, and I found that exercising and being outside and being in the sun is really something that I have to have. It's not even an option. I have to be out and doing things. And so mountain biking, hiking, all of it really ties together for me in my mental health and my well-being. And I think as we see more and more youth tied to media and online actions, I think it's a big thing that we need to promote because I see a lot of the youth struggling with that as well. Beyond that, Mountain biking has been for me one of the more challenging activities. I mean, I've rock climbed, I've ice climbed, I've helped build trails with the TRTA, but mountain biking is challenging and scary in a whole nother way where it really helps build my confidence and helps challenge me and keeps me, I don't know, your brain involved and activated. And I would love to have a bike park here because it has been kind of a struggle to get out and get better and learn to trust my balance on the bike and learn to trust the bike without that bike park. Not having that resource close by, it can be kind of a struggle. And I would really love to be able to train on my bike and improve myself and get better at the sport in general. And having a place here in town that's a short drive away rather than like an hour away would be huge. So I just kind of wanted to point out, just from an individual perspective, how good it is for mental health and your confidence and just overall individual growth. That's all I got.
No, thank you, and thank you for sharing. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 4. For possible action, we need a motion to approve the minutes of the Open Space Advisory Committee and the Parks and Rec Commission joint meeting that was held on June 16th of 2025. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of the Open Space Advisory Committee and Parks and Recreation Commission joint meeting from June 16th, 2025.
Do I have a second? All right, second by Jason. All righty. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 5. Right here, this is discussion only. Parks MVP employee presentation regarding the recognition and acknowledgement of park maintenance worker Stephen Tucker. Is Stephen here? Yay. For outstanding customer service, and this will be presented by Jennifer Budge.
Thank you so much. Jennifer Budge, Parks and Recreation Director. I just wanted to talk about briefly, before I get in to all the wonderful things that Stephen has done, a new recognition program that we've started in the department. It's called Parks MVP Employee. We created an email address so citizens that have outstanding customer service or good interactions with our team can share their stories. It's parksmvp@carson.org. We also have signs all around of our Parks and Rec facilities, our trailheads, and there's a QR code. You can just hold up your phone, share your experience really quick. It doesn't have to be long, and then we can publicly acknowledge all these hardworking employees. So they do great things every day, but I want to try to bring these exceptional stories to you so you can hear all about it. So Stephen is really exceptional. He's part of our park maintenance team. And I just wanted to read a brief portion of a letter I received from a member of the public of how he helped them. I have some other things that they submitted as well, and I'll give those to Stevens for keepsakes. But this was on June 25th and next to Sunset Park. So this is from, I'm going to keep his name confidential, but this is from a 92-year-old resident that lives next to the park. On Wednesday, June 25th, I was weeding my garden when I became stuck between a retaining wall and the garden and my shed. I tried to get up and get out of that spot for at least a half hour to an hour with no avail. I began shouting help for 20 to 40 minutes, but there was no response. I continued to struggle. I yelled help, but got no response from anyone, anywhere. I continued to struggle to break free. I saw a man walking to the trash barrel in Sunset Park, which is just on the other side of our chain link fence, and then saw a second worker too. I yelled help, and fortunately they decided to check out the situation. I told them that I was stuck and needed help to get out. After a couple questions, they opened the gate, came into my yard. They lifted me out of my situation, laid me on the grass so I could rest for a few minutes. Then they assisted me and carried me back in my house. We went in and they put me on the sofa to rest. After exchanging information, they called my daughter. After my daughter arrived, I found out that they had even waited outside to make sure someone came to care for me. Unfortunately, under these conditions, I don't remember their names, but it's important to me to thank them for coming to the rescue, and I do not know what would have happened if they had not come to my aid. So this was Stephen and one of our inmates that helped this gentleman out. So I just wanted to acknowledge Stephen. I have a little something for him and from his family. And then I did get challenge coins. They're not in yet, so I'll get that to you. as well. But I just wanted to thank him for that. And then I thought maybe if the Park Commission could take a picture with him, if that would be all right.
Well, thank you. Um, Yes, thank you, Stephen. And if we want to, we'll go ahead and start with the commission. If you have any comments or.
Yeah, that's a great story, very well done. I want to share my address with you in case I'm the next victim. There you go. Thank you, Stephen.
Sure. Thank you so much. And, you know, being on the board, both on this board and the Board of Soups, we often hear about how wonderful this community is in terms of the community feel and how we look out for each other. And what you did exemplifies that. Not only helping, but staying until, you know, this gentleman's daughter arrived, and that's above and beyond. And so thank you to you and to the person you were with, and please share our thanks. And we're just grateful. You are what makes Carson City special.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. It's awesome to know that there's a lot of good happening in the world around us every day, and even if it wasn't acknowledged, I'm sure it made all the difference to the family, and it's got to make you and the guy you were with feel good too. So I appreciate it, and I have family members that live on their own who could easily be in a position where they need an extra hand. So it's comforting to know that there's still people that go beyond the call of duty. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. And thank you. I would like to thank you as well. And thank you for being a role model for your daughter. Yeah, so thank you. And before we move on to agenda item number 5B, I just want to thank Jennifer and Parks and Rec for doing, because this is I think, a much needed program. And so again, if you will reiterate how people can nominate or get the information to you, I would appreciate it if you could reiterate that.
Sure, thank you, Madam Chair. Jennifer Budge, Parks and Recreation Director. People can go to parksmvp@carson.org, and it sends an email that Dave Navarro, and I all have access to. So we can see those emails and you can share your stories. There's also a QR code. You'll see signs around the building here, at the pool, at all of our trailheads, at the MAC. You can just hold your phone up to the QR code and just send a quick little message about your experience, a positive experience with our staff.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And because we do know that they work long hours, very hard, weathered conditions. So it would be nice if people could nominate more often as well. So thank you very much. All right, we'll go ahead and close item 5A and move on to, sorry, 5B. Discussion only. This is the welcome and introduction of Glenn Martell, the newly hired Carson City Manager. And this is also presented by Jennifer Budge.
Thank you, Jennifer Budge, Parks and Recreation Director. Just wanted to take a quick moment to introduce my new boss and our new city manager. He's been already so supportive of Parks and Rec. We appreciate him so much, and he wanted to just take a few moments to introduce himself and tell you what his vision is, or I'm not sure what you have in mind, but.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners and Supervisor Schutte for this opportunity to come by. What a great evening to be here. And Stephen, thank you. Oh, did he sneak out? He did. He just snuck out. Well, anyway, I'll tell him on the record. Thank you, Stephen, for what you do every single day for the citizens of Carson City. It's truly appreciated by myself, the rest of the team, and certainly the residents. So thank you, Jen, for the recognition program. I think that also goes to what Team Carson exemplifies, is pursuing that excellence and trying to take care of everything the best that we can. And I do think, I've been a long-term resident here in Carson City, involved with a lot of things. Jim talks about playing ball at Governor's Field. I remember that a long time ago, playing baseball, Little League in Governor's Field, and playing softball somewhat older out at Centennial Park, and canoeing in the river and doing some old trail activities before we had all the great improvements that we have in Carson City. That for me actually started with the open space, passage back in the mid-90s, late 90s there sometime. And when I look back at where Parks and Recreation has come in Carson City, it's certainly one of the things I'm proud of as a resident, and I certainly support as your new city manager, and I appreciate the opportunity to have this role here in my hometown. So I just want to take an opportunity to thank you as the commission for your efforts. Anybody that steps up in public and wants to sit behind that dais and have some say in what happens in their community, I certainly appreciate it, and thank you for your time and effort. I definitely want to thank Jen and her team for what they've done, and a couple are sitting right behind me. I got a tour here about 3 weeks or so ago of Prison Hill and got out to Silver Saddle. Hadn't done that in quite a while, and from the days when we used to ride our bikes out there at the south end of Prison Hill and dump the canoe in there and come out down the Carson River Bridge, a lot has changed, and I think a lot for the better. And we continue to do things such as, the portage at Mexican Dam coming up here shortly, as was discussed here earlier this evening, the new trail connection in Centennial Park, and working with our regional partners, I think is absolutely fantastic. I pursue that in every lane in my job, whether it be emergency services or parks and recs or water or whatever it might be. I think we only grow stronger and better as a region, as a community, if we have those partnerships. So I definitely appreciate the cooperation, not only amongst the areas in Carson City, the volunteers and the supporters, but also with Washoe County in that case, of going over the hill and connecting with what they're proposing on the south end there, getting to Washoe Lake. I just think those are huge opportunities for us to enjoy our natural area around Carson City. And I think I had lunch with somebody down in Gardnerville last week, and we were talking about what a beautiful area we live in, and the opportunity we get to have to see the seasons and look at those mountains to the west every day, or travel east and see a totally different part of nature and what it can be here in the great state of Nevada. So I certainly appreciate all that you do. I appreciate all the volunteers as well. I mean, this again, you talk about partnerships and community, the volunteers for the parks that show up to do the work of cleaning up and reporting things and helping Jen and her team get better at what they do, and keeping the parks at the level of service and the condition that we appreciate them being in. And again, been around the area for a while, I can tell you, I think most people recognize our parks are in really good shape, and they serve a broad spectrum of our community. And then lastly, for the public, such as everybody that spoke here today in regards to the bike park and the Centennial Master Plan, without the community engagement and the support of coming out and expressing that, we're going to miss some good ideas. So I definitely appreciate and would thank them for their input and willingness, again, to come out and be on the record in support and providing feedback of any kind to this commission or any commission here in Carson City. So that's really all I had to say from my point of view. Again, I appreciate the privilege and the honor to serve as your city manager, and anything I can do for you or any resident that's here, I can't hide. I'm right at City Hall downtown. Happy to have you stop by, give me a call. We can discuss anything. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have as a point of introduction or anything I might have missed.
Well, congratulations on passing the 90-day mark.
That's a win. Thank you. Yes,
That's
I
a
appreciate
huge win. And I just appreciate all you're doing, reaching out to the different organizations, going out and seeing, like Prison Hill, and interacting with the employees and all. So thank you, and thanks for the plug for community participation, because it really does allow for those ideas that might otherwise be missed. So thanks.
Absolutely. And you and I discussed, Supervisor Schutte, the small town feel, the community of which we all are part here in Carson City. And I think that's important that we have those discussions as a community. So as you said, to come out with the best ideas we can, just to keep Carson City moving in the right direction. And I honestly believe it is moving in the right direction. So thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, welcome, and sounds like you're very pro parks, open space, as we all are, and I've enjoyed being on the commission for the last year and a half or so. So I think the future is bright, and I also would like to echo the community involvement. Recently, I saw the Carson Now posted about the Centennial Fields going to turf, and Facebook lit up. And I was like, well, I didn't see you guys in the crowd, So I would really encourage people to speak up and get involved, good or bad. I mean, we don't all have to agree. That's what makes us so good. So.
Thank you. Yes, and I couldn't agree more that we can disagree, right? And have those professional discussions and how we get to the better solution. I think I've had some discussions with some residents as well as the turf out at Centennial Park. And most of that work was done before my time in this chair, but I remind people there was a lot of work done for months, year and a half or whatever. All those conversations initially started way back on the calendar. So I know sometimes it could be a little difficult to follow agendas and timelines, but I encourage people, if you're interested, it's all online, and reach out, carson.org. You can go to parks, you can follow agendas, you can do all that stuff. You can see. Jen can't hide either. You can call her anytime and get confirmation on when those dates and those discussions are being heard, or when, I know we do, Jen does a good job. We're trying to get even better at how we post across the city sites when those kind of things come up, whether it be on Facebook or press releases, as you saw in Carson Now. So, yeah, couldn't agree more. Try to get that out. Just for the record, I forgot to mention this. I did serve on this commission back in the day. I think for like 6 years back in the mid to late 90s, so I might be dating myself a little bit there, but I did enjoy my time. We used to sit over on this end when it was here, but I did enjoy that as well. And again, that was back when open space was starting up, and Vern Cron was still on the staff, and Steve Castens was still here, and all those other good things where I learned all the stuff that Parks and Recs do. So it was a good time for me as well.
Thanks, Chairman. Yeah, welcome, and I'm excited to see how excited you are to be supportive of the activities of this department. We have a great leader in Director Budge, and her staff does a great job. Yes, I agree, and we have a lot of community involvement and volunteers. I'd like to comment a little bit about that right now. It's great to see a group like the bike group here tonight in support. I know we've got a couple of facilities in town now that we wouldn't have without that kind of support. The disc golf course is one of them. Those guys have done a great job, and that was all getting volunteers and community involvement. I'll put in a plug for pickleball as well. That's another example, and trust me, guys, I know how hard it is to work to make that happen, and it's a long road, but it's worth it, and I think you're going to get there, I hope. So anyway, we appreciate the support.
Thank you. And again, yeah, I just, grew up here, and I appreciate, not only the natural areas that we have, but I really do appreciate and understand where Carson City was and where we are and where we could be. What I really like about Carson City is the breadth of opportunities, right? Whether you like one thing or two things or maybe three things, those opportunities are around. Not everything is everywhere, but you can do just about anything somewhere. And I think that is really a great benefit to Carson City. And I would just like, since you mentioned Jen and her team, talk a little bit about the broader team, Carson. I would like to recognize Jen and her team, as well as Darren Scholes and his Public Works team. on the improvements that they just teamed up with down at Sonoma Park the last couple of weeks. We had some challenges at Sonoma Park, I think opportunities maybe is a better word to do a couple things. And I met with Jen and the team and they were talking about it and they said, well, we would really like to close it for a little bit of time. And typically they did that once a year, but they were looking at doing an additional time this year and spend a little more time in the fall to get some things done. And so I said, well, then let's do that. Let's just let the public and the neighbors know that it's going to be closed. And when you look at the work that's been done there over the last couple of weeks, when you look at the patching that's been done, the filling that's been done, the preparation for the future, when you look at the pollinator garden that might be going in at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later on the edge there on the west side, I think those were all great things. So again, kudos to Jen and her team as well as Darren and his team. They came together as Team Carson and improved the access to the well site while they were doing that work. And again, I think it just bodes well for Sonoma Park's future, and I appreciate their team effort on behalf of the residents of Carson City. So thank you, Jen and Darren.
Well, thank you, and thank you for coming this evening and recognizing the work that Parks and Rec and the importance that this commission has with Parks and Recs and staff and the volunteers and the projects that are going on. We appreciate your time. Appreciate that you're getting out and about. I sit on the commission as the liaison for the school board. And so I will invite you to maybe attend one of our school board meetings to maybe introduce yourself to our school board and at the meeting and just kind of, if you wouldn't mind, it's the second and the fourth Tuesday of every month. And you can, maybe give a little presentation on the importance, I think, with the city working with the schools as well. That builds a community. We need to have that partnership continue. It's been going really well. It is great. We're a large community, but a small community, a very small town, and we all work together. And I think the centennial and the discussion about getting the youth out there is important, and I love to see that it's not just parents, coming up saying that the youth need to get out and about. It's those even without children. We recognize the importance of parks and the recreation we have that it does have on our youth, and so I appreciate your time this evening and for coming to speak to the commission.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll take you up on your offer. If you could just do me a favor and maybe email me or something so I don't forget the dates. And then you're happy to coordinate and get over there and meet with the school board. And I think we share a common friend in Lupe. And I think, she's done a great job with the school board over there. And I think Joe and I'm trying to think who else I know. And shoot, her name just left. Stacy. Back in the day, right? Anyway, the long term, yeah, okay, yeah, and again, just again, you talk about community and history. Grew up with some of those folks here, even go back to junior high and watching everybody do good things for the community. Certainly happy to go and talk to the school board, and I couldn't agree more that on the recreation side, how we get the kids away from the iPads and the phones so much, and get out to not only recreate and get healthy, but to interact with their fellow human beings and generate those social skills and all those things that I think are so critical to success. So anything we can do to help with that, happy to. And again, please remind me on an email or something, or call me and leave me a message, and I'll work to get on the calendar too. Thank you. Great. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and close agenda item 5B. Moving on to agenda item 5C, which is discussion only regarding the proposed Carson River Trail System Phase 4. And this is also going to be, presented by Greg Bergram.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
And I'm sorry, Lindsay, too.
Yeah, I know, I just hadn't gotten there yet. Okay, so for the record, Greg Bergren, Trails Coordinator for Carson City. So the Riverview Trailhead Project, just a little bit of background to start with. This is the area we're talking about is the trailhead at the very east end of 5th Street, 603 Marsh Road is the address. And It's one of Carson City's oldest and most loved trailheads. It provides access to over 14 miles of multi-use pathways along the river corridor. And it also hosts the Korean War Veterans Memorial. And so the old or the existing conditions, I show a kind of an overhead view here, and it's got, parking in two different areas, and the parking lot is crumbling. The administrative access goes between these two historic structures to get out to the wellheads and the trails in Riverview Park. The shade structure is really not very practical. It's kind of split in the middle by a brick wall and is not used very frequently. The restroom is not a year-round restroom, so we have a portable in the winter. So really a lot of things going on there that needed to be improved. And so we were able to obtain $2.3 million funding agreement from the Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act. And on that, there's no match from Carson City. So we're pretty excited to be moving forward with the project. We obtained we contracted with Design Workshop for the design of the new park, and they subcontracted with Loomis and Associates for the engineering. And we, September 15th, we conducted a open house on site to talk to neighbors. We sent out 340 mailers to the entire neighborhood around Riverview Park and posted notices at the trailhead. We also conducted an online survey that was open for about 2 weeks and got 32 responses from that. We had the attendance at the open house was 21 people who signed in, and I think there was a few more who didn't sign in. I thought the responses were really good. We got a lot of good, positive comments, and but for the most part, people really liked the design, and so we'll take a look at that. All right, in this design, or the concept design that we've been working on, I'm going to kind of go through the pieces of it. So with the new design, we have parking for 51 vehicles. And the interesting thing is that the footprint of the new parking area is 17,000 square feet. The old parking, but if you take the two areas that exist now, that occupies a footprint of over 22,000 square feet and accommodates about 45 vehicles. So we have reduced the footprint of the parking area by about 5,000 square feet, and we're accommodating a few more vehicles. We're going to be working on drainage improvements, and we're incorporating elements of LID, or low impact development. So for example, drainage, there's going to be a drainage basin here. We don't want to just make it a big old rock-filled drainage basin. So we want to be able to make it more aesthetically pleasing. So hopefully we can accommodate that with pollinator species and some other natives. We've got right here is it's a year-round toilet, heated for winter use, and it will have watering stations for both humans and dogs. There's an ADA compliant sidewalk throughout, and there's a little picnic table pods. There's one here, and another one. I can't even see the other one there, but there's 3 pods there. Also, just so you know, the light green circles are the existing trees, and the darker green circles are trees that we would be planting. And we're only removing 2 existing trees, neither of which is in great condition. The shade structure right in here is intended to be a 20 by 20 structure that would also accommodate or be a platform for like ranger programs and things like that. And it replaces the existing structure that really isn't very functional. The fencing, we intend to replace the existing chain link fence with something that's a lot more aesthetically pleasing and kind of fits with the neighborhood. Low maintenance landscaping, we've these areas in here are native landscaping. And then based on comments that we received at the open house and the online survey, we decided to put turf in here. There's a lot of people that would like to see some grass. And so this is about 4,400 square feet of grass right in this little pod in the, right there. We're going to protect and place the historic structures right here, and we will no longer have a road going between them. It'll be fenced with something that's just more aesthetically pleasing, and it will have a nice interpretive sign to talk about the history of those memorials or those historic structures. And then the Korean War Memorial, we want to essentially leave it like it is, but make it more accessible to anybody with disabilities, and perhaps make it a more a place that for quiet reflection. So we've gotten rid of the traffic that used to be there used to be a road right around here, so we'll make that it'll be nicely landscaped with the bricks, the memorial bricks, as kind of a walk-through pathway. And the design has been reviewed by transportation and by water. Transportation suggested the crosswalk right here. We're leaving the existing school bus stop in place. And yeah, so that's about it on that. And then I wanted to show you some example imagery. So we'll be putting in new kiosk signs like we have standardized throughout our park system, 2-toilet restroom. This is maybe not the exact color scheme that we'll be using, but that's the design that we would select. 20 by 20 pavilion. Fencing, that's kind of more of a ranch style, a lot more pleasing than the existing chain link fence. And then some native landscaping along with the turf. And so with that, I will take any comments or questions that you all may have.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Dave, we'll go ahead and start with you. He's still pondering. So we'll go ahead and start at this end. Okay.
All right, well, thank you, and it was a great outreach, and it was nice to hear the different opinions and ideas, and thank you for incorporating the grass, because I think that is important. If you know offhand, what is the footprint of grass right now?
Right now, there's about 6,000 square feet.
Okay, and what will it be?
And the proposed is about 4,400 square feet.
Okay, okay, great. So it's still a significant amount of grass, so thank you. And just reading the public comment, somebody had mentioned horse trailers. And so I was just wondering if, you know, I run out there sometimes. I've never noticed a horse trailer, but I know people ride there sometimes. Is there a way to stripe the parking lot or to accommodate a horse trailer, or is that something that would need to be considered, or could somebody just go in and take up a row?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Supervisor, and we have discussed that. I think that if we were to put in trailer parking, we would lose a lot of regular vehicle parking. Also, asphalt is not the ideal location for equestrian. So what we have discussed doing is on our kiosk signage, putting alternative locations for horse equestrian parking, which could be the there's a trailhead just a few blocks away, Hidden Meadows, that has it's a natural surface that would accommodate a trailer. Silver Saddle Ranch, of course, is a perfect location, very well suited for equestrian parking. And from Silver Saddle Ranch, equestrians can access the entire Carson River Trail system. So, and then of course within the neighborhood in down here, there is equestrian access to Riverview Park for neighbors that have horses that want to just walk or ride to the park. So that's kind of our thoughts on that. But if there are other thoughts or ideas, we're open to it. But I agreed. I personally have never seen a horse trailer down there. I don't think there's there's a huge demand right there at that particular location for equestrian parking.
Well, thank you those for speaking to it, because I want folks to know that we do read public comment, and it is taken into account. So, and it sounds like there are other options for horse trailer parking that do tie into Riverview. So thanks so much, and great presentation.
Yeah, my wife and I, we frequent this park a lot. For the most part, I really like the concept and everything. Going back to some of the public comment, somebody mentioned a playground. So I'm not sure exactly where the closest playground would be for the 300 and, what did you say, 40 people or houses that are in that area?
Yeah, and that's a good question. The playground is not one of the deliverables in the current funding that we have through SNPLMA, so that could not be funded as part of this project. That doesn't exclude the possibility of putting something in through another funding source or another means if that demand is there. In that grassy area, the lawn that we're going to be creating, there possibly could be an opportunity to put something in if that is, something that people really want.
Awesome. And with all this talk about turf and lawn, it is going to be like grass, I assume?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, cool. And one of my concerns would be that the Korean War monument, are you gonna have any signage to encourage people to not just go straight to the trailhead, but to actually go see the memorial? Because right now it's pretty much like in the middle of the parking lot, which got my attention, and I checked it out the first time I went, but I'm just concerned that it's already known as the Forgotten War, and I would hate for that community to be kind of forgotten again. So that'd be a concern of mine. But.
Yeah, no, that's a good observation, and I think it's kind of, to some degree, it's kind of hidden right now behind the monument sign, where my cursor is where the existing monument sign is, and we intend to move that further to the south, and then we're going to move the flags that right now are back here behind the monument. They tend to get caught up in the tall trees right there, and they're kind of not as visible. So we intend to move those right out front here on Marsh Road. And so coming down Fifth Street, the first thing you would see would you be looking right down the line of the monument where the monument or where the memorial bricks are. And at the crosswalk, you'd be crossing right into where the flags are. So point well taken, and I think that, that's something that we can discuss with our designer, but I think perhaps what we have here might make it a little bit more visible and inviting.
Yeah.
As is. So.
I think it looks good, but I've never walked to it. I've always driven. So, and another public comment was, and you already addressed it, so I think it's really important to keep in mind that there's only 2 trees that are going to be removed for this huge thing, which is pretty impressive for the scope of work. So, yeah, great. I like it so far.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, my pondering is done. Thanks for the time. No pickleball court. We know, we're happy. Couple of questions. I imagine there's irrigation for the existing turf. There's grass there, or do we have to add irrigation or move irrigation? What's the plan?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. So I don't know that we really know exactly what all is there, and a lot of it is very old and antiquated, and we'll be completely redoing the irrigation system.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Just question about the walkways through access to the trailhead. What's the material for? Is that concrete? Is it?
It's concrete.
It's concrete. Okay. And
Yeah,
the parking
yeah.
lot is asphalt.
Parking lot is asphalt. There's 2 ADA parking spaces right here, and the entire, everything, all the amenities are ADA accessible.
Okay, and I'm probably just not be, too dumb to read the map, but where's the entryway to the parking lot? Right there?
Right here, and then it would be kind of a drive-through like this.
Okay,
So,
okay,
yeah.
so it's a loop, all right, okay. That's all I had. Very good, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very well done, and thank you for the information and addressing all the questions as well. I love it. I think as a teacher at Eagle Valley, cross country would be there, and so I coached cross country for years, and that would be one of our competitions, and it wasn't, the parking and bringing kids down in there and trying to navigate, it really wasn't, it needs improvement. And this looks absolutely beautiful. Recently, what has brought me down there is for my day job, we have clients that walk and they're elderly. And so just even trying to get them parked and in off the gravel, because there's gravel is problematic, but they love that walk. And, they'll walk with respite providers or whatever, to give. And so I think this is just going to be, they'll be ecstatic because it is something. So this is very beautiful. I love the fact that there are only 2 trees, but they are damaged. So you guys did a really good job, really kind of thinking of everything that could possibly be needed and taking in consideration everybody's thoughts and opinions and comments and suggestions. So very well done. Thank you. And Dave has Commissioner Weifel.
Thanks. On approval, what does your timeline look like? Do you have a rough estimate of how long this will take?
So we are thinking that, or hoping that we can start construction about a year from now.
And this is more of a question for John Costello, I guess, is like, has there ever been issues like where the park rangers get called out there frequently? I know it's kind of removed from town. It's not like Mills Park, but my concern is if it's a heated bathroom year round, would that attract people just kind of hanging out by there? And I don't know.
Yeah, good question, Commissioner. No, we don't get a lot of calls there for issues. It's very definitely right in the middle of a neighborhood, very, very visible. Any activity that goes on is going to be observed by so much traffic in that area. And as far as the restroom is concerned, and being heated, and your question about nighttime use, we typically lock our restrooms at night, and we've been kind of working with the automatic system with some of our most recent placements, to where it just automatically locks, and then the rangers can check periodically, but we don't have to actually have someone go down to lock and unlock. But that's been working very well. So yeah, I don't think that will be an issue.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right, great job. Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate your time. All right, we'll go ahead and close agenda item 5C and move on to 5D. This is for discussion only as well, and this will be, our presentation is by a citizens volunteers regarding the project, programs, and maintenance activities at the Carson Ridge Disc Golf Park this past year. So, and who do we have the pleasure?
I think we've got Dennis Peterson, Greg Swift. Is that it? Yeah. But I think before they start, Jennifer Budge, Parks and Recreation Director, I just want to thank Dennis, Greg, and all the volunteers that still help with disc golf. They're tremendous. They not only built a really amazing facility, but they really care for it. Aaron Larson, our volunteer coordinator, has been great working with them to make sure we have regular cleanup days and work days, and they're just really tremendous, and I so appreciate their partnership.
All right, thank you. And if you will, state your name, but thank you. We welcome you and we're excited. I'm so excited to hear what's going on.
Dennis Peterson.
Greg Swift. I'm on the board for the Foundation for Carson City Parks and Recreation and a disc golf advocate.
And Candace Harris.
I'll start. We feel it's important a couple times a year just to check in with Parks Commission and just let everybody know what's going on at the disc golf course. As Jen said, we're all volunteers and the whole course is maintained and improved by a group of volunteers. If I can find where my presentation is now. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I'll try something else. There it is. There it is. All right. Okay. So first thing we're going to do, and Candace is going to present this, is we're just going to discuss the events we've had and the community involvement we've had this past year.
All right, thank you. And also thank you for this platform to be able to speak to it. We appreciate that. And just being able to sit on it, in on the meeting this evening, what a beautiful thread that's been woven in of just showing community involvement and volunteer services. And I've heard that throughout each person who's come up here. And so that's really encouraging, being a volunteer in the community, to just hear all the different ways people are involved. So this past May, we hosted our second annual Spring Fling Disc Golf Tournament, and we have some photos up there of the event and participants. And I'm proud to share that with our second annual event, both events were completely sold out with 90 players each time. So we felt like that was a big accomplishment. And one of our main goals with that event was really to build community and to get people out to that disc golf course, but also a lot of the cards when you're set up are going to be mixed cards. So you may be with a female or a junior or a senior, or so you get to really socialize and meet different members of this community as well, which I think is huge because we don't always get those social interaction opportunities. So I really appreciate that it helps build community. And one of the things that's important to us is to be able to keep that cost low and avoid creating financial barriers for participation in the event. And so for the past 2 years, we've only charged $20 to participate in this event. And even with the low entry fee, we've been able to really raise significant funds by adding things like a prize raffle, 50-50 raffle, closest to the pin, and just get creative in some of those other fundraising opportunities that have been really made possible through the generosity of our local community. And so on this slide, you'll also see over 35 local and regional businesses donated gift cards and prizes and things to this event. So no one gets paid out in cash. It's all prizes that have been donated to us through our community. So I think that that's a really impressive representation of just how this community here in Carson City and businesses within the region support these efforts for us to be able to raise funds. So that's really exciting for us, and I think a perfect example of how strong this community really is, and appreciate the local businesses stepping up for programs like the Movers and Doers, which is our adaptive recreation program here in Carson City. And so this year, we were able to raise $3,300 for the Movers and Doers program. And we also received an incredible gift this year from the Parks Foundation. They matched our fundraising efforts, which was incredible. And so through their scholarship fund, we were able to bring the grand total this year to $6,600 donated to support the Carson City Adaptive Recreation Program. And I actually had the opportunity from, I think it was around for a year and a half, to help run that program here in Carson City, and really identified a need there that that this population that really survives a lot of times on Social Security, and they're not able to really have that income, it was really important to keep the cost low for these activities. And through these fundraising efforts, we've been able to help supplement the costs of these activities. And so at the end of the day, it's not just about the sport of disc golf, but really it's that bridge that we've been able to create in our community through this, through disc golf, and connecting players and businesses and programs like the Movers and Doers to truly make that difference. So on this slide here, we have some photos, and our year one effort, it was really important for us to, we did restrict some of the funds to making jerseys for their bowling league and for their goal getters program, just because I feel like when we are able to wear something that represents, it's like being on a team in any sport. You have that jersey, right? And you feel like you're part of something. And so that was really important to us, to be able to help provide something that made them feel like they were part of something, that they were on a team. And so that's been something that they've maintained, and we're excited about. And also, I think through those efforts, we've been able to contribute the bowling league. I just saw this beautiful new activity guide came out, and I was thumbing through it as I was sitting back there, and saw that the most expensive thing currently on this activity guide is $15 for this program. The bowling league is free. That comes with their bowling league jersey. The Polar Express, which we know can be a huge financial challenge. I looked at tickets recently and didn't realize how much that costs. They're going to be able to do that event for free. So really being able to provide these funds for this community to keep things accessible and economical is just incredible. And that's because of this community and a lot of our volunteers, and being able to raise these funds and participate. And so quickly, I just want to mention, on the record, for those who may not know, the Movers and Doers program provides adaptive recreation opportunities for individuals of all abilities, giving a chance to stay active, connect socially, and enjoy the outdoors in a supportive environment. And so thanks to the funds raised from the Spring Fling and the Parks Foundation match, the program's now able to offer activities at little to no cost. And so I just think that's something to just celebrate. And it was really made possible, again, through, we have these core volunteers I'm sitting next to, Dennis and Greg, that have really put in such a huge effort to keep this disc golf community active and keep awareness around that. And I know from my point of view, I've played a lot of disc golf courses, and this is one of the most well-maintained, beautiful courses that I've played, and I've played all around the country. So that's an effort from our volunteers and all that time that's been put in. So I know we're going to move into some of those maintenance projects, but that's something that, just speaking also as a community member, that I really appreciate all that time that goes into that course as well.
Okay, just on tournaments, the Spring Fling is our Movers and Doers charity event. We do that every year. This will be our third year coming up. Or no, we just had that. No, it's coming up. It'll be a third year coming up, sorry.
May 3rd of 2026.
Yeah, okay. And then we also had a circuit challenge that was put on by another gentleman here. And then we had a glow round. A glow round is a event at night where you light up the baskets and then you put tea lights around the trails. It's really fun to throw in it, but it's also fun to watch. This year, we're trying to add more tournaments. So beginning next year, we're planning on having the first PDGA professional disc golf sanctioned event next spring. And once you start getting PDGA events, you start bringing in people from farther away. And then, as a Visit Carson City would say, you start putting heads in beds. This is I'm just going to show you a few slides for those that haven't been out there of the disc golf course. This is our entry sign. This is a few visitors that we have out there. And they don't really much care that we play out there. And, you know, at times you'll see that they leave us piles of indifference laying around.
Yeah.
Fertilizer, yeah. This is one of our signature holes. This is hole 17. And I think one guy, when it was first being built, I bet he spent 1 month working on this by himself. This is on a little rocky ridge looking to the west, and Highway 50 in the background. This is Buzzsaw. He's our course watchman. That was a donated piece of art, by the way. This is what a glow round looks like. This is that same hole 17 looking southwest over the city. If you look at the one on the right, it's pretty much the same picture, but there's a comet in the background.
Nice picture, Commissioner.
Yeah. These pictures, both of those were taken by Mr. Jake McDermott there. This is a unique hole. This is on our pony course. You won't see too many holes like this, but when the disc lands in there, it makes a reverberation inside the wine barrel, yeah. Okay, these are just some of our maintenance items. I'm just going to go through these pretty quickly. Trails, T-pads, signs, flags, benches, sponsor signs, landing areas, and erosion mitigation. We saw quite a bit of that these last few rainstorms. A lot of trails got washed out that had to be repaired. So this is just an example of a trail. It's gravel. Gravel is probably the best substance for trails because of its durability, and it does not have to be refreshed too often. This is a T-pad where people throw from, and these are made from a product called dirt glue, and you actually mix sand or dirt or gravel inside this product, and it makes this T-pad. They're pretty long lasting, but you know they do have to be patched due to weather, especially in our climate where you have the freeze-thaw cycle all the time. And you can see up to the end of this one where there was some patching done on that one. And these are our signs. These are brand new signs. They got to be replaced every 3 to 5 years. And you know, thanks to John Costello and Dave Navarro for helping us get these signs reprinted and replaced. Flags. For the first time since the course has been open in 2019, we have flags on every hole. And it makes it nice for new people coming to the course. They can look out and see where that basket is. This is something that we're really proud of, and these are these benches. And it's a very unique feature. This wood here was harvested from an elm tree that fell on the Capitol grounds around 2019 sometime. It was cut and planed by a company called Complete Millworks, and locally, and Northern Nevada Carpenters Union helped them finish them. The finish, sand and finish is done by volunteers, has to be done several times a year with the weather we have out here. I've just got a couple pictures of these because they're so nice. That one's on Pony Hole 9. I think how people integrated these with the rocks is just amazing. This is hole 18 looking west. Carson City's off to the left there. These are a couple of the new sponsor signs we have. These new signs give the sponsors much more visibility. The old signs, they were on the big sign and they were pretty small. And it also is much easier for us to maintain them as we get new sponsors. This is chips that we put around a lot of the baskets. And it's a good product to put around the baskets because it doesn't chip your discs. It's nice and soft. It does have to be replaced a little more often than, say, gravel. This is this surface on the top here was just replaced. This is a landing area around basket 9 on the pony. So that's kind of it on the pictures and the maintenance. Future plans, looking to the south, and this was part of the original master plan and grant proposal. We currently have 27 holes now. Our plan we'd like to start discussing with Parks is putting another 9 holes in here in the coming year. And this is looking to the south. This whole area with the current holes that we have and future holes we have planned is 100 acres. It's quite a lot of property. Greg and I walked this the other day. It's kind of a really nice piece. This is a shade structure, but it's not on the Carson Ridge Disc Golf Course. It's on another disc golf course. We would like to have a shade structure. We think as we are expanding tournaments and trying to bring people into our community, we have to spend and improve the course. We have to make it comfortable to people who come here. So we'd also like to start, making plans to see what we can do to say, put up a shade structure in, say, maybe 2027. Any questions?
Yeah, so thank you very much for the presentation, and we'll go ahead and start with Commissioner McDermott.
Well, you know I love it.
That's why we started with you, by the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that were mentioned. There's a few things that we're taking on too. When you go play a course, when you join like Reno has a disc golf club, and they have what's called bag tags, and it's basically like more or less a donation, but it's a fun way to compete within the club throughout the year. You challenge somebody with a lower number tag, you play a fun round, and winner takes a low tag, right? So you want one of the lower tags. I actually brought one, I can pass around, but this is a new one that the foundation helped fund. So it's durable, and you hang that on your bag as like a kind of like a sense of pride that you're part of the group. It's a way to give back and things. So that's a fundraising effort that we're starting now. I have some for sale if anyone wants one. And yeah, the events have been stellar. We've had so much, like Candace mentioned, the matching grant or gift from the foundation. The tournament in the spring raised $3,300, but that's just what we pulled in. That's not dollar value of all the donations given from all those 30 plus sponsors, I would call them, because they really do help us out every year. That's a huge draw because a lot of people want money when they play a tournament, but it's nice to offer like game tickets to an Aces game or Mom and Pop's Diner, just to name a couple. And like the winner gets to choose what they want. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to see what it grows into. And really the shade structure, since the course is pretty removed. It'd be hard to get power and water and all those types of things. This would be a very minimal way to improve the course, but it would have just skyrocketed attention because it's in the middle of the desert. It's really hot out there. It's kind of brutal. They have these little grottos and like shade benches areas by the tee holes, but a place to meet after and just talk about your round or have like a little barbecue or something. This is huge. I'm not sure, but this looks like the one at Dayton.
Correct.
Yeah, and they have barbecues after their rounds every day, and from my friends, they say that's even more fun than the round a lot of the times. So, yeah, I love it. Can't wait to see where it goes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, yeah, nice presentation, really good presentation. I've learned a lot. I've got a lot of questions. I think I'll take some of them offline though in the interest of time, but just want to say that's impressive what you guys do with movers and doers. That's really great. Great idea. I like that. Oh, this is an easy one. Do the discs glow in your glow event, or just the holes are lit?
Both. I mean, you have to buy a specific disc that glows.
Okay.
or
They
you can
make
have-
stickers that you can put on your
They can put
disc
on.
that glow and with a
Without-
flashlight.
Without
and
any backlighting or black light, or
If
do
you put the black light on there, it'll light up
They light up.
for half an hour or even longer. Some of them are, the technology's getting better. So yes,
All right,
they do
cool.
glow.
Your signs look great, by the way. Those are really, really nice. Did you guys design those, or did John and Dave help, or what?
It's
How'd that happen?
definitely city staff, CC Pro's been very involved. So
Cool.
kind of a combined effort.
Yeah, those are great. I really like that. Let's see, what was I gonna say here? Oh, how did you attract the pro event? Was that a difficult task, or did you have somebody you knew, or how'd that
It's,
happen?
it's still in progress. We're just talking about getting the event set up next spring, and we're actually talking to the pro in Reno, Scott Meyer.
Okay, so
He's the state coordinator that probably would help. But no, the events themselves are not that complicated to run a PDGA. If you have good tournament directors, which we've had for a couple of, especially the movers and doers event.
okay. So are
Candace
these,
and Jake TD, a tournament director and assistant. And anyway, the events are well run.
so is there an organization that sanctions these, or is
Yeah,
it? Yeah. okay,
Professional
yeah.
Disc Golf
Disc Golf
Association, PDGA.
So there are
runs-
requirements from that organization in order to, and your course meets the requirements.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
No, the course will be
Yeah,
fine.
that's really great.
I will
Um,
just quickly add to that, just with the potential of this PDGA event, that the tournament director that we will have running this first one is also, as Greg mentioned, the state coordinator for the PDGA. So he has been in disc golf a long time, especially regionally, and has a big following and a lot of respect for the way that he runs his tournament. So I think it's very advantageous for the city to be able to have him actually get in on this first event that we'll be running here in Carson City, because it really guarantees that it will be run smoothly at a very professional level, and be able to really pull in a lot of different disc golfers within the region.
And are
So I think
these,
it will be great.
are these typically multi-day events?
They can be. I
Can
mean,
be.
there's anywhere from single day, one round like we run, to double 2 rounds a day over a weekend. I think really a lot of the times the max amount is 3 days. They have some tournaments.
What would be a good participation number?
I mean, I would say on average 90, like our sold out
Really?
tournament, just because 18 holes allows for about 90 players when you're
Okay.
doing like, they're typically like that shotgun start style. This may go to a tee time being a sanctioned event, but I would say a lot of them go between 90 and 120.
Yeah, 108 could be
Is-
max, but,
okay.
it depends on how.
I'm not a golfer, so this is gonna be a dumb question, but is this handicapped like
Yes.
regular golf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there will be different divisions, payouts for the pro division.
So
and
there'll be
they'll have
cash, there'll be
amateurs.
cash prizes?
Yes.
And and the association provides the
It'll be
purses
mostly from the entry fees,
from entry fees. Okay.
mostly. There'll probably be some.
Do we have
added,
any
but
pro players?
We're
in the-
still working, yeah.
We have pro players in the area?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's this young kid named Jed Berger. He's like 17.
Oh.
Right now on the PDGA, for all of professionals, he's ranked number 8 for Rookie of the Year.
So he's almost the Ben Johns of disco.
Yeah, I beat him once.
Yeah, Jake did beat him.
There you go.
And he did win our first event, the very first event, a young high schooler at the
Bragging
time.
rights. Well, I don't want to take up any more time, but I appreciate the information, and I'm really interested in some of the details of how this thing works, because, and particularly with your sponsorships, because something we haven't done with our pickleball events, and I'd like to know how you work that angle of it too. So great work.
Speaking of sponsorships, we do have a few spots left. They're, like you saw, they're nice and they're placed on the post. They're very visible. So anybody wants to put a sign up, there are.
And how do they go about being a sponsor, and what is the cost?
If you go to the website, the foundation website, there's a page for disc golf, and it gives you all the information on how you become a sponsor.
Cool. Fantastic. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. And, another wonderful example of community collaboration, volunteers coming together, and really creating opportunities that they're passionate about and that benefits the whole community. I also love celebrating the Eastern corridor and opportunities along our eastern segment of Carson City. So I just, I thank you. And every time I see your presentations, it's like, I've got to get out there and I need to learn to play, because I know that it will be really fun. And so.
That short course is very beginner friendly, so
Perfect.
give us a talk, we'll show you.
I
around
sure
and
will. Hey, thanks.
Get some discs for you.
But thanks for all you do and the time you've spent, because I know it's not a light lift by any means.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jennifer Budge, Parks and Rec Director. I just wanted to acknowledge Candace and thank her for her passion for Movers and Doers. It's really special. I think the Movers and Doers program is one of the most important things the department does. It's sort of like an unsung hero for those participants, and I just appreciate you championing them and the program and putting all your effort into this to make money for a better experience for them. So thank you.
And thank you for that, Jennifer. Mine is, and I'll say it again, I said it the last time you did as well. I don't know what we would have done without disc golf during COVID, in all honesty, with our kids being, no school, no outside life. Some families were willing to do things, outdoors, some were not. And that's when we picked up disc golf. And I remember seeing you out there on our first day out there. You guys are phenomenal, in all honesty. The volunteerism, the time that you spend out there doing what you do is just extremely commendable. It was cold that day. I can't say that I'm a huge fan just because I'm not good. And I don't like things that I'm not good at. And so, yes, if I practiced more, I probably would do better. But during that time, we traveled to Douglas County. We went up to the lake. We went to, different places in Washoe County as well. And I have to say that course out there is just top notch. It really, really is. And the work that you've done and the art that's out there, it's just great. But we, our family has continued here and there. My son, on campus at Eastern Oregon, they have a course there too. And it was like, oh, hey, so it's really great to see, that it's there and it's growing is what I think is great. What I would like to look at is if there's an opportunity. I'm a huge advocate on getting kids out and about and away from their screen time. And we get a lot of parents stating that, you know, if it's not an organized sport, what can their kids do? You know, it has to be organized. And so I would like to be able to meet with you at some point to see whether or not we can get our youth, you know, the ones that are interested in the organized sports, the extracurriculars, because that's what our funding is kind of down to, is just the organized that. And I think it's an opportunity, like we did with the Rangers, just getting the word out, whether or not you would be willing to go to the schools and talk about it, maybe doing some, you know, little different activities during, you know, recess time, you know, lunchtime, you know, if there's something though, but I would love to be able to get that opportunity because I think it is a great outdoor sport. I really think that you guys do a phenomenal job, and there's so much more opportunity to get the youth involved, I think, in this as well. So maybe we can start a PE program. I don't know what that looks like, but something like that. But so thank you very much, and I loved your
Portable
pictures.
baskets or- One last comment. I did want to thank Jen and her staff. Erin was here earlier, but she helps, I think, another volunteer coordinators behind us here. It started with Chelsea, but Erin has been a great addition. So every one of our events have been co-sponsored by CC Pros too, so that's appreciated.
You know, another opportunity, I think, to get the youth involved in the schools is maybe during your tournament, if you need volunteers, we can try to maybe get a few groups out there to help volunteer, and then just the awareness, I think, is what we're looking for. Yeah.
Great.
Well, thank you.
Madam Chair, I do want to just let you know that we do bring our youth program out to the disc golf course in addition to movers and doers as regular activities and part of those programs. So we are introducing the youth, but we can always do better.
Thank you. And that youth program is what?
Our summer and break programs that we have, you know, 150 to 300 kids in. So we typically will take certain groups up, not in a bus because that's cost prohibitive, but we'll do small groups in our van that we have and then bring the kids out so they can have an opportunity to participate.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that information. All right, we're going to go ahead then and close agenda item 5D and move on to 5C. This is for possible action. This is discussion and possible action regarding the recommendations to the Board of Supervisors regarding the John D. Winter Centennial Park Master Plan. And we have here Nick Wentworth.
I'm a college student and I just got out of class and I wasn't able to public comment on the master plan at the beginning of the meeting. Is there any way that I could public comment quickly now or afterwards?
Going to look towards our legal counsel.
Pretty please.
That is up to the chair. If the chair would like to take
Well, of course.
Public
Yes.
comment on this item, the chair can.
So Nick, if you wouldn't, well, no, since we did public comment before the agenda item, we'll go ahead and entertain your public comment. Nick, would you mind waiting for a minute? Okay, thank you.
Okay, for the record.
And if you wouldn't mind signing in too.
For the record, my name is Stella Thornton. I'm a college student up at UNR. I'm a junior up at UNR. And I absolutely love the outdoors and everything about it. And I'm so excited for this Centennial Master Plan and everything that it has to offer, especially the bike park, but as well as all of the fields and all of the erosion mitigation. There's so much in it that is going to be so helpful for the community to be able to come together and be able to be out there. And I want to say thank you to Parks and Recreation for being so willing to work with the bike park and to work with a lot of the different improvements, and just seeing how much the community has come around. I will say that just the bike park in general, the amount of surveys that we had, that people wanting the bike park and really being out there and the community wanting to come together on that, just like with the disc golf course, is that it's really truly amazing to see people want to go outside and to do those things together, whether it is youth. I've had a lot of my friends who are in high school or in college who are super excited for it, and they're not the kinds of people who really want to come to a meeting and speak to people about it. But behind the scenes, they're super excited and they want to come out and volunteer and they want to come build and they want to come help. And so I just wanted to say that I'm super excited about it, and I wanted to thank Parks and Recreation, and I also wanted to thank all of the people behind the scenes and Muscle Powered and so many people that are here working to make sure that the Centennial Master Plan is gonna go through and that we can make it at this awesome, amazing place. Thank you.
We'll take that kind of public comment anytime. So thank you very much. All right, so Nick, if you want to go ahead and get started.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners, Supervisor Schutte. Nick Wentworth, for the record, Carson City Parks Project Manager. So yeah, this has been a long process so far, and I just wanted to mention also, I greatly appreciate Dan and all of the bike park individuals, I guess, enthusiasm and initiative. And I can say the same thing for, you know, Commissioner Whitefield and the disc golf group. And without people stepping up and really showing that kind of initiative, then these kind of smaller or these sub projects of projects don't get included in things. So I am an advocate for it. I, as a teenager, raced mountain bikes and appreciate that. And I think it's a great fit at Centennial. And hopefully we get there sooner than later. So this all started around September of last year with a public survey and beginning that public engagement piece. The survey helped staff recognize how the community was using the park and come up with some new ideas of what else we could do with the park. And as most of you know, the lower section of Centennial's been completely underutilized for years and years. I don't know if it was the first sports complex in Carson City, but I know my father-in-law has fond memories of the batting cages down there that I think were gone before I knew about them. Some of the stakeholders I wanted to mention, Recreation Division of Parks and Rec, obviously, manages the softball and futsal leagues and tournaments at Upper Centennial. A lot of the larger tournaments are typically endorsed by the CTA. And then obviously the golf course is part of the greater, John D. Winters Centennial Park. Duncan Golf has been contracted to manage Eagle Valley Golf Course since 2018. Also reached out to the Clear Creek Bowman Archery Club over there at the archery range. That group does a great job of managing that facility. They are we are very hands-off. They basically have taken complete ownership of that facility and their only ask in this entire process was they want 3-wire barbed wire around their facility to keep the horses out. And it was like, okay, we can include that in the cost estimate. That's a very easy ask. And then again, Ride Carson City quickly organized into a group passionate about the potential development of a bike park in Carson City. And like Dan had mentioned, I remember emails going back and forth almost immediately when I took this position in 2020. Greg had already been involved in a lot of conversations with a few individuals about making that happen. So all those stakeholders were included in discussion, emails, all of the individual design review segments of the master plan. Got feedback from all of them. Highlighted a few comments here in the master plan. These are comments that came back through the survey. We really need some football fields for kids in Carson City. The mountain bike community is very large, and a local bike park would provide an excellent place for locals and others from outside the area to come for the riding and help support the local community. Let's get our youth active so they stay busy and out of trouble. plus sports and camps teach them so many excellent coping mechanisms and how to be functioning members of society. I'm happy the city stepped up to provide a much-needed tennis facility for the growing community in the surrounding area. And in my opinion, the whole Centennial Complex needs an overdue overhaul from the road, fields, handball court, trails, and restrooms. And just to talk about that, like I said, I totally appreciate these different groups, whether it's pickleball or disc golf or bike park. As a dad in this town of a 13 and 11-year-old, I'm on the Little League board. I've coached Little League for almost 10 years. My kids play football, they play basketball, wrestle, you name it, we've done it in Carson City. And the fields really are a need. I mean, anybody who doubts that, I encourage you to drive through the Pete Livermore parking lot at 10 a.m. on a Saturday, or go try to find a parking space at Governor's on a Saturday morning. And fall ball for Little League has taken off, and we tried it last year. It had a huge turnout this year, and it's competing with Pop Warner for that field space because there are no dedicated football fields. And I think the project that's about to kick off next Monday for turning the upper fields into synthetic turf is an amazing experience. I drive my oldest son to Manteca 5-6 times every winter to play in travel ball tournaments. We'll be able to host those here. Whether it's softball, those fields are going to function for, they have 5 different base path distances and several pitching positions. Those fields will work, and our intention is to get portable fences to be able to move those fences to any distance we want so that they are diverse and they work for any level of softball or baseball that they can be used on. So, sorry, I didn't make a public comment earlier. That was it. Here's just a few highlights from the survey. The complete survey results are in the appendix of the master plan itself. But just finding out how often people are at Centennial and using that, what their age group is, whether or not they feel we need more parking. If you've been up there during a softball tournament, you already know we do. The dog park came up, and it's something we need more of in Carson City, especially on that side of town. There's a real need for it. You'll see in the master plan design that we found a very good spot for it that's across the road from the main entrance off of Arrowhead. That way we also don't allow pets in any of our sports complexes. So that'll help give some separation from the dog park, from the sports complex, but it's a usable piece of property that the city owns that is the perfect size for a new dog park. Would a bike park be a good fit? Yes. Would you support multi-purpose athletic fields for youth and adult sports? I don't have to read all of them. So here's some of our existing conditions up there. The pink highlighted area is could potentially be additional trails, but that is a little bit steeper. This is also where we have a lot of the erosion and runoff issues are from the surrounding slope behind it. So we are 90% designed for the drainage. Infrastructure has been complicated along at the same time as this master plan and some other construction drawings. We're finally working through some different elements with Southwest Gas and Paiute Pipeline. There's major transmission lines that go through there. Those are shown with the red dashed line here. It cuts straight across the middle of the golf course. So we're still working on how exactly that drainage infrastructure is going to work and coincide or coexist with those major Southwest Gas pipelines running through there. They added the wind arrows, but it really didn't matter because you go up there and the wind comes from every different direction, and 5 minutes later, it's coming from the opposite direction. I got new windscreens for the tennis courts after the tennis courts were recently replaced, and was up there kind of on site in the middle thinking about where are we going to hang these windscreens, because my initial thought goes, well, the west and the south side, because that's where the wind's going to come up this draw. And as I'm standing there, all of a sudden the wind's hitting me in the face from the north. And I get back in my truck and I'm thinking about it, and I get back out, and now the wind's coming from the east because it swirls around. So the windscreens have been hung, or getting hung, all the way around the perimeter, but it is a battle. It's always windy up there. That's part of the reason we included the windscreen buffer and landscaping with the turf project, was to try and knock down some of that dust and wind, protect that investment of the synthetic turf fields. So here's the master plan for the lower section of Centennial, which we wanted to look at like a clean slate, because what's there isn't very usable. Park maintenance has put some recent work into fixing up 2 of those softball fields, I think in an effort to make a usable space there while the upper fields are under construction. But one of the restrooms burned down, I think in 2017 or 2018. The existing restroom that's still there is completely unusable. I don't think it's had water on in it since in the 12 years I've worked at parks. So what you've got there is number 3 would be like a primary football field for youth. Number 2, with the top multi-use field, could serve both football and soccer, so maybe practice fields. And these drawings are just to depict what would fit on there. So you could have 4 Pop Warner football teams out there practicing at the same time on field number 2. Same with field number 1. Our intention with all of these would be multi-use, so that they are designed to accommodate as many different field sports as possible, whether that's lacrosse, soccer, rugby, football, whatever it is. So they drew in some softball inlays on the lower one, on field 1, just to show what a softball field on there would look like in the instance that there's a huge tournament at the top and they need 2 more fields. We can make it work down there. I think we'd probably do a dirt infield, but again, this is just a master plan, long-term vision. This isn't, these aren't construction drawings, so obviously those little details can be worked out down the road. Really tried to spread out parking here. I know from spending, 30, 40 hours a week at Governor's Field, what parking looks like over there, and having 300 spaces all on one end of the facility just isn't functional. For football especially, you see grandmas hiking down the length of Governor's Field to get to Field 6 where they play most of the games, and it's just not conducive to fans and visitors and parents and everybody else. So parking spread out all the way around it. Wanted to include, it's number 8 over there on the left, a user group storage facility. That's one of the big issues we have at Governor's. We have that issue at every sports complex, is that the user groups don't have dedicated storage areas. We've, over the years, accommodated, given certain spaces where they can put their stuff. But the idea actually came from Stoddard Park down in Gardnerville, and they look like storage units with roll-up doors, but that's exactly what those organized sports groups need, is somewhere to store securely all their stuff and have it all in one place where they can pull a vehicle up there to unload, or it's just a functional need for a sports complex. And we really ought to be looking at doing that for the other sports complexes. I know that's been a battle at Pete Livermore as well. Got a large playground, number 4, and a concession restroom. Wanted to set up number 12 there between fields 1 and 2 would be what we've been calling a promenade, like what our plan is at Mills Park, running through the middle of the big field. So specifically designed with power and water set up for vendors, food trucks, stuff like that, or even, you know, teams in between games on Saturdays. They can go out there and pop up a couple easy ups, and they have somewhere for the entire team to congregate, kind of chill out in the shade, eat their lunch, whatever, before their next game. You can see the dog park over there to the right of the main entrance. This would also include a second entrance closer to Bowers Lane to the west. And that's also where the park maintenance yard would be. Once we convert to synthetic turf this winter up top, we are not going to need mowers up there anymore. That project includes a shade structure to house equipment underneath. But the intention would be to build a shop similar to what we just did at Mills or what Fuji has, approximately 40 by 40 building to store our equipment, take care of those assets, keep them out of the weather. Oh, and then just a note, the future road expansion note on there. There have been developers that have looked at some private property that is to the north of the west course at the golf course. So just to be thinking ahead and towards the future, the possibility is there that we may need to provide access, not that we would have to provide access, but provide an easement, and one of these roadways may double as, or may turn into public road heading out into some of those developed areas to the north of the golf course. So this would go along with that. Maybe the road needs to be widened at that point if it's even built yet here, or the development came first. Certainly providing an easement across there would allow for traffic to get through there and access that private property.
Nick, really
Yeah.
quick, I don't know if we kind of want to break it up and would you want to do questions on lower before he moves to upper? Any questions, comments? And then he can give us the upper park and we can do comments, questions.
Whatever's
on that
easier.
end. What would you guys prefer? Yeah. I just see everybody like just rambling, and I don't know if you're going to go back from slide to slide to slide to going back. So let's go ahead if you don't
Yeah.
mind
Yeah.
taking comments, questions. We'll do lower first, and then
Sure.
if you can go. Okay, we'll go ahead and start.
Thanks, Madam Chairman. Yeah, first I want to give Nick a pat on the back for including so many stakeholders in his planning. This was critical in what we did with the pickleball stuff, and we really, really appreciate the way you listened, the way you accommodated what we felt were really important needs, and just can't say thank you enough for the work you did on that. And that Mills Park, I mean, these master plans are huge. I mean, it took a long time to do Mills, and I'm sure this one is bigger, more in effort, and it's really good work, Nick. I appreciate what you do.
Thank
you. Yeah, just a couple of quickies. All of these fields that you anticipate here, are they, do you think they'd be artificial or natural turf?
Well, after, recent discussions, I think the intention would be natural grass at this point. But
Okay.
the future's open. I mean,
Okay.
nothing of that
Nothing's
isn't
set in stone.
determined within the master plan.
Okay. I really like this idea about designated storage. I mean, we have the same needs at Mills Park for the pickleball thing. I think you're right in recognizing that that's a universal need. And I hope we can figure out how to do that. That was my main thing, so thank you.
Well, thank you. Go ahead, Supervisor Judy.
Thank you for the presentation. I love this master plan, and I appreciate the further information when I reached out. Where would, or will there be bleachers, or is that in the scheme? And I know that I'm getting into the minutia, so the question really is, where would they be located potentially?
So we did include bleachers on the master plan. I personally really like what I've seen at Golden Eagle. I know that next to the football field at Golden Eagle, they have kind of a terraced berm. And you got some parents that want to sit in camp chairs, some parents that want to sit in bleachers. But my idea here was bleachers on the sides of all the fields. Obviously, where you have two fields next to each other, you'd have to have portable bleachers in the middle. But down the sides, bleachers in the middle with some kind of terraced berm or a berm extending from both ends of the bleachers, and trees planted within that so that you have natural shade on like a grass berm where you have a little bit of elevation, because sitting 6 feet higher, 4 feet higher is the difference in seeing the other end of the football field. So yeah, the intention is to include some bleachers, but then also provide natural setting where people naturally gravitate to, and a lot of people just want to sit on a blanket or in a camp chair or whatever with their family, and don't necessarily want to be crammed into aluminum bleachers, which are usually hotter. And so leave it open, but definitely provide some bleachers, but also think about the ways I've seen, families using or spectating at different fields, and try to incorporate more comfortable seating that way too.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, we saw this probably like a year ago now, but it makes all the sense in the world having revisited it. My one question, you mentioned thinking forward, would the potential road be on this map, or is it part of the main yellow line, or where would that go in?
So you'd have a new access point here coming off of Arrowhead to the west by that number 7 maintenance shop.
Right.
And then also running across the top, which is right adjacent to where the golf carts go out to the west course now.
Okay.
So until we get into development review of what they're doing, I mean, the one at the top on the north end would obviously be a lot easier, and you're not driving through the sports complex to access that.
Okay.
It just all depends on what that development looks like. But I guess it's just being cognizant of the fact that at some point we may need to provide an easement to get people over there. And who knows if that ends up being commercial buildings or luxury condos, or who knows.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so it's not like an actual new street cutting up behind the golf course? On
yeah,
our
that's
dime?
very realistic that could come to fruition
Okay.
at some point in the future. We just want to make sure that this design will allow for that.
Right.
And maybe that means that north portion heading across that 192 stall lot, when it goes in, it's just a 2-lane asphalt road to get into the sports complex. If a developer comes in, and that's all based on in community development and development engineering, I mean, they're going to require like traffic analysis and those sorts of things that are going to generate a trip report and tell the city how many vehicles are anticipated to drive on that every day. And if they need to upgrade that road to handle that traffic, then that's on the developer, obviously. That wouldn't be on Parks Department.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just confused on which road we were talking about, but that makes sense.
It's just leaving the possibility open, or recognizing that may
Yeah.
need to happen at some point.
I'd rather be ahead of the curve.
Yep.
Thank you. No, I love it, and thank you for your work on it. A few suggestions. One, the restroom, the location of the restroom being so far away from the concessions, and the where's the other one?
I noticed the same thing, that's why, so number 10
So here's
also
11.
has plus restroom.
Oh, okay, so it is a plus, okay. So I'm thinking that's a long ways away from the playground.
Oh.
That number 11. So thank you. Yeah, I just read concessions and moved on. Okay, so yeah, so that was one. You bring up the berm at Golden Eagle. I spent years at Golden Eagle with soccer, and the one thing that I noticed with that is it is not very senior accessible. If you are a senior trying to get down into that, so I would definitely look into that, you know, because you know when you go from the restroom and you go down and then you step, it's a huge step. So that one I would look into to just make sure that it is senior accessible and ADA. Getting into, if you're going to do that kind of, I like it. And I think it is much better than bleachers by all means when sitting and watching. But I would look into that, just making sure that it's easy, accessible for all. Another question then would be the 6 soccer fields. How big are those those aren't adult?
Those aren't full-size because a full-size field, as you know, I'm sure know, is a little bit wider than a football field, but
Right.
just as long, or it's into the end zone. So, I mean, a full-size soccer field is very close to a football field. So you could have fields 2 and 3 could be 3 full-size soccer fields, but like I'm sure you've seen it,
Right.
Pete Livermore, I mean, a full-size soccer field turns into 6 or 8 for the
Right.
little ones, you know what I mean? This was, I don't know exactly what age group their dashed line would average out to, or what size field that is, the 6 that's shown on there. My guess would be that that's like an 8U or 10U size.
Okay. Because I just know that the adults are out there, you know, at the Centennial playing the adult soccer.
Yeah.
And so is the idea then they would move from upper Centennial to lower Centennial and be playing?
We've had a lot of discussions about that. We actually just went up, Scott Chapman and I went with the rec staff up to Golden Eagle week before last and met with their maintenance guy up there. And I am really hesitant to paint the new turf at the top. I'd really love to move the soccer activities down to lower and just not have to put paint on brand new synthetic turf fields.
Mhm. No, I agree. Then I'm looking at though, then, because right now for the adult league, all of the 4 outfields are being used on the upper. So I don't know that you would, I don't know if maybe looking at one, you know, one here, which is going to be the multi-use, to maybe make that more of a soccer as well. I don't know. And then I know this is probably not here, but when it comes to the synthetic and the public comment and everything that is being said, I really hope that you put in perspective those who are saying it, if they're actually going to be using it, or if their children are out there using it as well. My kids have played on, you know, the for years, and I don't anticipate that they're going to have much health concerns because they have played on it. It gives them the opportunity to play year-round, and that is what this community needs. We spent, like I said, years driving up to Golden Eagle for soccer in the winter, and it is what our community needs. We need year-round sports. You heard it with the bike, you know, for you know, the bikes as well. It's not just that. It's, I think, overall. And so I hope when, you know, when you are doing this and it comes down to the Board of Supervisors, and I have no problem speaking at public comment during that time as well, is that we really, really need to look at year-round sports. And if that is going to have to be artificial turf, then I'm all in favor.
I agree 100%.
Okay. So, all right. So if there's no more questions, we'll go on to upper. Thank you.
Sorry, one additional. This can wait for the other, but I wanted to address the pipeline issue a little bit. In a past professional life, I worked for a pipeline company for about 8 years. And I have some fairly detailed questions about what's there, how it's maintained, the operating pressures, the fluid that's being transported and so forth. So we could take that offline, but I would have some input for you on that
Okay.
might be helpful. Okay.
Great.
Yep.
Ready to. And here we have the upper park portion of the master plan. This obviously includes less changes. We're not dealing with a blank slate here. as mentioned, just finished all 8 tennis courts. I'm working on spending the remaining budget for that on some amenities there. Like I said, the windscreens, that restroom will be going in this winter. Looking at a November delivery date for that restroom. So that should, actually the asbestos is already all cleaned out of that restroom, ready for demo. Looking at developing that area where the old hitting wall was a little bit more like a plaza with some shade, a little bit more inviting. Did order a replacement hitting wall. It's going to be a little bit smaller footprint than what was there. We've included an additional parking lot just to the east of tennis. Those, like I said before, those softball tournaments use every parking space up there, and they could definitely use more. So I wouldn't anticipate that parking lot getting used all the time, but during large events, whether it's fireworks or a tennis tournament or a softball tournament or, like you said, year-round sports, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't have travel baseball tournaments up there. I think that overflow parking lot will definitely get used on a regular basis. No other changes around tennis other than just some landscaping improvements, additional trees, because we all need more trees and we all want more natural shade up there. There is a pedestrian connectivity shown in that light blue dashed line that would allow people to walk from that overflow parking lot up to the upper fields. You can see the detention basins that are shown on there. I want to clarify too, some of the comments received on this design and the comment made previously tonight just about incorporating the bike park into the detention basin. I'm not in opposition of that in any way. I think I just want to clarify that building this drainage infrastructure, in my mind, is the highest priority out there. As much as I want my kids to play baseball up there, whatever it is, we're spending $6 million on synthetic turf fields. We just spent over $1 million on tennis courts that were undermined by erosion and stormwater in 2018. We've replaced sod on the northwest softball field 2 different times in the last 10 years from erosion coming down that dirt road that heads up to the northwest, which is where the pipeline is. So I guess just the clarity there is just that the drainage infrastructure is the priority because we need to protect these investments. Before we go spend, we're already spending all of this money. I didn't even mention, I mean, the bathroom's part of that too, but to protect the investment of those upper fields and the tennis area and the whole park, we need to manage the stormwater that's coming off the mountain. It's a free-for-all right now, and it goes where it wants. And we've made small drainage swales to try and control it. So I don't want Ride Carson City or anyone else to feel like this is exactly how it has to be, or because something's labeled a detention basin that can't be part of the bike park. It just has to come first. We're finding out now with this pipeline I don't even know that it's a conflict, it's just working around it, that most of these detention basins are gonna have to be above ground. We can't really dig in. We've got to cross that pipeline in 3 or 4 different spots where it is less than 5 feet deep. And we can't dig within 10 feet of that pipeline without someone on standby standing there watching. It's a serious safety concern. Pipeline or Southwest Gas has been very clear about that. This is just communication that has come up in the last couple weeks. We've finally kind of broken through the communication barrier there and had finally have a really good email chain going on with a few different people over there with my contact at NCE that's working on the drainage design, and we're finally making some progress there, trying to figure out how we can work around it. So I just wanted to clarify there that in no way am I opposed to the bike park overflowing into that stuff. It is just, it has to be the priority to protect this investment and to look out for Carson City's assets. So speaking of that, also, we expanded the number 8 bike park area. Was just the initial area within that black dashed line. And part of that came from Calendar Landscape, who has helped develop this. They are the consultant that put this package together, basically at our direction from the survey and stakeholder responses and that sort of stuff. That was their initial kind of boundary of the area they were working in that they established early on in the scope of work. So I did have them add the number 9 just as a visual representation that the bike park can expand anywhere it wants. We have so much land up there that it's definitely not constrained to just the number 8 that's on this image. That is the core area inside that pipeline. And now that we figure out that there's actually 2 pipelines running through there, it's probably a lot more limited than any of us ever could have imagined at the beginning of this process of how much we would be able to do inside of that spot because of the pipelines. So you'll see, so with the drainage infrastructure, the 2 basins up top, that would be the primary way to slow down the water coming down off the hill. Part of that drainage design also includes water bars and management on the gravel road going up the hill, because that's where a lot of the sediment and erosion comes down. We've also included a secondary access point, kind of undetermined at this point. I don't think we would pave it. It may only be open for events, special events, such as the fireworks or a softball tournament, when you need to give people a second way out in case of an emergency. Talking to transportation portion of Public Works, the likelihood of making where the existing entrance is to the archery range out on Highway 50, the likelihood of turning that into a actual intersection is near impossible. I mean, it would realistically only be a right in, right out access point without spending millions of dollars to add turn pockets and everything else to Highway 50 out there. So with the secondary access, I think it's a necessity. It makes maintenance easier, gives us access around the golf course. That helps Public Works and Parks and the archery club and everybody else, but it also could provide that emergency exit if something were to happen up there during a tournament or whatever, and we have a wildfire or whatever the case may be, for emergency purposes. I think I've covered everything up there. Like I said, softball fields will be starting this coming Monday. They were supposed to start yesterday, so their clock's already ticking. That's on them. Tennis courts are done, working on those final amenities. Restrooms going in soon. Drainage design, we've been waiting for 90% forever, but that's not the consultant's fault at all. That's just trying to tie together 50 different loose strings. It's like unwadding one of my kids' fishing poles. So, we have called out some fencing there as well. Fencing, landscape improvements, kind of all over the place up there. Fencing is a necessity to keep the wild horses out.
If you'll bring that one back up.
Yep.
And then we'll go ahead and take comments, questions, and for the upper, Commissioner McDermott.
Again, all looks pretty well thought out and looks good to me. The one thing that I think, I'm not sure if it's intentionally being left off or if it's not, but that playground kind of in the middle of the fields, is that gonna be removed or?
No, we have no plans to remove that. It's only accessible when the fences are when the gates are unlocked for games.
Right.
And I've seen people in there when the gates are not open. That happens, of course, but that's part of the reason we included another one at lower. And with the intention down there, and that came out through the survey, is that we recognize that having an asset like that the public can't get to most of the time is not very public friendly. And so building another one at the bottom that the public can go and utilize whenever they want, you know, during daylight hours when the park's open, is more preferable. We don't have any plans of that playground certainly staying throughout this turf project. I think as a department, we need to reassess where each playground is at when parts become unavailable. Essentially, when they hit about the 20 or 25-year mark, they really kind of become obsolete. You can't get replacement parts for them anymore. They start to fail on bigger levels than just a crack in a slide and things like that. So I would say that that's probably just a bridge we'll cross when we get there one day, but nowhere in the near future. We replaced those, we took the bark out of there and put in softball tiles in 2019, I believe. And the playground's in pretty good shape. It's got shade over it in the summer, which helps a lot. That cuts down on all the UV hitting all that plastic. And it doesn't get used to the extent that a lot of our other playgrounds.
Yeah, I mean, for when there's adult games or whatever, Cool.
Are you ready?
Just quickly, could you bring up the overall overview, that overhead of the whole thing? I'm trying to place, I want to make sure I know where this, let's see here. Yeah.
Which one were you?
I'm worried, I was wondering about the temporary road or temporary access. Is that the one that's down on the?
So here,
More
that
west.
would follow that yellow dashed line. You can see the archery range over to the northeast of the golf course. And then somewhere, you could see on the upper portion, it would tie in approximately where the number 10 and number 5 are on this image. It would cut
Okay.
across there.
That's what
and-
I thought. That is the road that I was thinking about. Okay.
Yeah, there's a
So-
gravel road there now. You can't, there's a gate just past the archery range.
Okay.
And that pipeline follows that entire road. I'm guessing that road was built because of the pipeline.
So wait, the first, now the pipeline you show is one. Where's the second?
So
one?
it splits. You can see on here, it splits right where that yellow dashed number 11 stops.
Oh, I didn't.
It splits there and comes down. And this isn't 100% accurate. It actually crosses Heritage Way right to that. I can't plug my mouse in because the thumb drive's in there. But it crosses right almost to that number 5 and then back out into the, so it crosses Heritage Way twice. The section heading south.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I didn't see that originally. Okay.
And we did, like I said, that was one of the last edits I made to this master plan because that information literally came to light within the last month.
Okay.
I went out and GPS marked all the pipeline markers out there and started asking a lot more questions because it didn't make sense in my brain.
All right. Well, if you'd like, I'd be happy to take this offline. So, thanks.
Supervisor Schutte? All right, great, thank you. Yeah, so just a couple, if you'll go back. One is, just because you mentioned.
You want
it.
upper?
Yes, please. So that parking down by the tennis courts, just an FYI, that's in the fallout zone for fireworks.
Oh,
So that parking lot would have to be closed and probably as well as that walking path, because that is right at that elbow, all of that, and then some is part of the fallout zone.
what are
So
the
that's
chances of fireworks or hot embers falling on my brand new tennis courts?
Very low. very low because they're shot off. Well, I don't know. Your wind picture showed that it could go in any direction. So
Just saying, those
so
are
I-
expensive tennis courts.
So I'm just saying, let's flip a coin because if your wind goes this way, that way, who knows? No, but in all honesty, the fire department does such a great job in letting us know whether or not it's a go or a no go. So, and they're far enough away in the golf course, whether being the staging site. The other thing that brings to my attention is. So we struggle with getting, and you all know that I'm the liaison for the school board. So this is why I bring it up so much is we struggle getting our youth to extracurricular activities after school. And one thing that we haven't mentioned at all is a bike path, getting to Lower Centennial or Upper Centennial. So, we have all of these, the bike paths throughout town getting us connecting. I would just hope that we have thought of getting, how are these kids going to get there, and utilize the bike park, the Lower Centennial, when transportation after school is tough. So I don't know if we can make a jack stop right here, make a little, a bus for jack bus. I don't know, but I would hope that we kind of look into this and making this, because going there on Centennial Park Drive, it is not a bike-friendly road. It was not even a walker-friendly road on July 5th when we were cleaning up. It was not, it's very narrow. So I know that you talked about, making that road a little bit, putting effort into that, but I would hope that we would look into a bike path getting us there, getting our
So
bikers
that's
there.
interesting. We did include that throughout this entire master plan. You can see the pedestrian connectivity heading south past the golf course here. There is a little bit of a bottleneck right at the clubhouse just because of the slope going up to the golf course parking lot now. We did make sure that that was included in the master plan, connectivity with throughout the park, from upper to lower and throughout each section. But what's funny about that is the Highway 50 bike path, I've worked hard in the last 5 years to do a lot of maintenance projects to our other asphalt bike paths around town. The entire freeway section, obviously, Pete Livermore is now connected to the rest of them. The Highway 50 bike path beyond I-580 is NDOT's responsibility. Because, well, once the freeway went through, the bike paths and the roadway maintenance and everything else became Carson City's property. So that's why the William Street corridor is being redone inside of the freeway. It stops at I-580. When I've talked to Public Works about maintenance projects out, it would be east of the I-580 intersection with William Street, that is NDOT's property. That bike path does continue all the way out to, well, on the north side of 50, it goes all the way to Deer Run Road, and I used to plow it. And there's the south section stops, the section on the south side of 50 stops at Slot World. But the north side continues all the way to Deer Run. And in all actuality, there was a land and water grant at some point 30 years ago, and a bike path, off-street bike path was built along Centennial Park Drive in front of the CrossFit gym and those automotive shops that are there now. But those businesses have completely taken it over, and we've actually made an effort to contact those businesses and have them not park to block those. But there's more hurdles in the way to, so there technically is a bike path all the way to the intersection of Arrowhead Drive and Lower and Centennial Park Drive. But it doesn't, and I mean, the sports complex is kind of on the outskirts of town, and it's a hike, and I don't know if I'd send my kids riding down Highway 50. I agree that we could make it, improve the connectivity out to that
And that's why I
facility.
don't know if Arrowhead would be better as well. But I do know that Campo has grants that could be possibly looked into for this as well, that we might want to, look for that. And I don't know if it's safe routes to school. There isn't a school there, but, maybe creativity and trying to look at different ways. But no, I wouldn't do Highway 50 either with my children, but maybe Arrowhead. I don't know. I don't know if I'd do that either. Just a thought, all right. But thank you very much. Great presentation, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, so if there are no other questions, comments, this is a action item. So if somebody would like to make a motion.
I'm happy to.
Mhm.
I move to recommend approval of the John D. Winters Centennial Park Master Plan to the Board of Supervisors.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Seeing none, the vote is approved unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and thank you, everybody, for your public comment. We're moving on to agenda item 6A, and this is for our director's report. Jennifer?
Thank you, Jennifer Budge, Parks and Recreation Director. Before Nick leaves, I just want to thank him for all of his hard work on the Centennial Master Plan. That is a really huge project, trying to get a lot of different groups, opposing groups, to try to see each other's vision and appreciate it and work through all that, all the utility challenges. It's a lot of work. So, and I'm going to update you on a few projects. Most of them are Nick's. He's got a lot on his plate. So I wanted to say thank you for all your hard work. I appreciate that. So we have a million things going on, and I know we haven't met in a while. I know we're getting at a late hour, but I just want to keep you updated on all the things that we have going on in the department. The department's working with the Sea Hill Flag Foundation and the Carson City Parks and Rec Foundation to rehabilitate the flag on Sea Hill. It sits on city open space. A lot of people don't know that, but it has over 20 years old. It's been falling apart. We don't want it to be a safety issue, but we have a grassroots effort to rehabilitate that. So the Sea Hill Foundation is taking the lead on that. The fiscal agent is the Foundation for Carson City Parks. Anybody wanting to donate to that project, you go to carsоncityparks.org, and that takes you to the foundation's website. It's tax deductible. But on Saturday, Supervisor Schutte was out there with me and about 100 volunteers, and we dismantled and took all the panels off the flag. So we do have Loomis Engineering is donating their time pro bono to look at the structure underneath to make sure that the foundation is secure and safe. And as we look at a plan to replace those panels moving forward, that it's safe and something that can last. The fundraising goal is to be able to raise the funds and then get it put back together, purchasing all the parts and everything needed by Flag Day of 26. So by 4th of July of next year is the goal. So please spread the word, donate if you are comfortable, if you can. If not, we need volunteers for another work day or probably a few. It is good upper body work. Yeah, I don't know that half the town could lift their arms on Sunday, but it was pretty amazing experience. I know I have a bump, I think, yeah. We were carrying the panels over our heads. Yeah, it was a lot. But thanks to all the volunteers that were there, it was a pretty tremendous experience to participate in. You have activity guides out. We put some on the back table. They're also online. You can get them in English and Spanish on the electronic version. We have a million things going on in the department, so you can look in there to see most things. Our biggest event put on by the department of the year is Bonanza. That's October 30th from 4 to 7 p.m. at Mills Park. Last year we had over 6,000 people at that event. It just gets bigger and bigger. But we do adjust the event every year based on the prior year's participation. So we try to get a little smarter and a good event going on. We have a theater ADA project that's out to bid right now. It would be the outside access to get into the theater, so making it a little bit more accessible. Hopefully that comes in within budget. We have 2 restroom replacements scheduled for December at Mills Park here, which is great, getting rid of those old ancient restrooms, and they will be heated chases, so we'll be able to have those open year-round without having to bring in portable restrooms, which is wonderful. Nick already talked about the one at Centennial Park for the tennis courts, which is great. Mills Park pickleball courts, we completed 6 new courts, which is tremendous. They're post-tension concrete, over $1 million project, which is amazing. And then we have, you know, the temporary volunteer built courts. So we have a total of 14 courts there, which is amazing. We are still getting benches and shade and windscreens. Thanks to Dave for helping us. He's going to get all the windscreens in, and he's been such a huge proponent. And we'll also have permanent signage. We've had a lot of temporary signage there as well. So thanks to everyone that helped support that. We'll plan a big grand opening event at the tennis courts and at Mills Park once we get all the improvements completed. So the tennis courts, as Nick mentioned, are complete at Centennial, 8 reconstructed courts. We're getting windscreens, signage, benches all coming in soon. We've permitted a USTA league, so the United States Tennis Association, for this fall, and it's the first USTA league in over a decade to play there. So it's really tremendous to get tennis reintroduced into Carson City, and we're happy to participate in that. As Nick mentioned, the upper fields will probably start on next Monday, but our staff has been harvesting all of the turf at Upper Centennial and reusing it in other parks. So we've reused the turf at Sonoma, at Lower Centennial. If you go to Lower Centennial, it's never looked so good. In the 10 years that I've been here, it's tremendous. So the staff has worked really hard on that. They redid Field 4 at Governor's completely with turf from Upper Centennial. So we're trying to utilize every resource that we have, and that's all in-house. That's not a third-party contractor. All existing staff adding that on top of their regular duties. So it's pretty tremendous. The aquatic facility will be getting all new filters for the large pool, which is tremendous. And then we have some plumbing projects there as well. So we're continuing to reinvest into the pool. We replaced some sidewalks that were having some issues at Schultz Ranch. We made repairs to Northridge linear sidewalk from Russell to Roop to make sure that there's no tripping hazards, and it's a little safer on there. We're working on tree replacements on College Parkway East and West. Just need to get that scheduled. We do have that within our budget and went out to bid for that. We were just closed, as was previously mentioned, at Sonoma Park for 3 weeks. We worked with Public Works to improve access to their well and water utilities, providing safer access to the park. We still have some work to do. We're going to be have new fencing on the east side of the park, but Public Works did some sidewalk repairs, replaced some concrete at the northwest corner that was lifting off of the ground. Our staff aerated the entire park, fertilized it, overseeded, put some sod in. It looks really great, but that park gets a lot of use with the dogs, so it was a really great project, and there's more to come in the spring there as well. As you know, I don't know if you've heard, but John Mankins Park, we had an arson event there, so someone or some folks burnt the 2 portable restrooms down at that park. It burnt down the structure over it. It burnt some trees, some of our irrigation infrastructure, controller, and some other things like that, over $50,000 worth of damage. There has been an arrest made of 4 individuals. We believe that we're involved with that. So I just wanted to thank the Sheriff's Office for their due diligence in trying to find those folks that did that. There was a bunch of other vandalism across town, so we hope that will stop. That's hard to watch. Our park rangers are so busy. There's a million things in the activity guide, but they've been doing story time at the library, which is wonderful. There's a fall color hike and after dark cemetery tours by the rangers this month. The cemetery tour in particular, if you haven't participated in that, is really, really wonderful. The rangers do a great job. We had Move with the Mayor at Lone Mountain Cemetery, and we had over 100 volunteers, and I think we almost pulled every weed in the entire park. It was really tremendous. So thank you to everyone that came out. And then last but not least, we have an all-department work day tomorrow, and our open space team is leading that for us, and we're going to be planting hundreds of native plants in and along Riverview Park, behind it, and along the Empire Ranch Trail. So trying to outcompete some of those weeds with some good native vegetation. So we'll be doing that from 9 to noon tomorrow. And that's it. Any questions?
Are there any questions? Yeah. Send it in a memo.
Yeah, 90% of those are Nick's, so you can tell he's been pretty busy.
No, well, thank you. Yes, it is. You guys have been very, very busy. We've seen it. And if you wouldn't mind addressing the Sea Hill fundraiser, about how much funds are needed.
Well,
I heard
there's 390 aluminum panels. They're 4 feet by 5 feet. So they are giant, about my height, as I was trying to carry them off the hill over the weekend. The panels alone, to purchase the new aluminum panels with the colors, are about $30,000.
Okay,
So
that's
that's
what I
just the
heard.
panels alone. As Loomis and Associates looks at the footings and everything, it'll probably be more than that. I think we've had several construction companies come forward, Simerson Construction. Bill Miles was up there on Saturday. He is determined to help us as well. He was one of the people that originally built the structure that's there now. So he was very invested in looking at the footings and what's there and how things are remaining. What I observed was a lot of the screws were rusted out or missing. So I think we're probably going to need some of that. There was one part of the lower middle section of the flag that had collapsed. But other than that, the frame actually appeared to be in really good shape. So I think after Loomis and Associates gets in there and really determines what's needed, we can get a better estimate. But we'll need at least $30,000 to purchase new panels. I'm pretty sure we can get the majority of the labor donated, some good skilled labor to be able to put that in. But if there's other infrastructure or parts of the frame or the connections that need to be made, that number will go up.
Okay.
Right
Yes.
now, I think they've raised $13,000 so far.
Yeah, and I heard this afternoon that their goal was 30. So
Yeah, I
30,000
think that will probably be the minimum.
minimum. Okay,
Mhm.
good to know. I do have to say, driving into town, so I was gone for the weekend, driving into town on Sunday and driving that way, it was very, you missed it. You did, yeah. I mean, you miss it. Looking west, you miss that flag. And it was only a day, and you just kind of look at that Sea Hill, and when you're so used to it, you miss seeing it. And so I am excited, and, hopefully the community will come together and fundraise and get the funds to get it done right. So thank you for that. Any other questions, comments? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much. You guys are very, very busy, and we surely appreciate every one of you for everything that you're doing for the community. We'll go ahead then and close agenda item 6A and move on to agenda item 7A, and this is an update from your Carson City School Board Liaison, which is me. And so I don't know what to tell you because we've been doing a lot as well. School is in session, going well this year. One thing that I think that we should definitely, the discipline is going very well. I believe there's only been a couple fights at the high school so far. Those yonder pouches are working wonderfully at the high school and the middle school with the cell phones. That is something that we are doing very well at it as well. The start of the school year for every single school was just a positive. Everybody was excited to get back. The staff worked extremely hard over the summer to get all of the schools up and running. Empire, thank you to Parks and Rec and to the city as well. Their playground is phenomenal. The fencing and everything else is really great. The school district did update their website. So for those parents that are listening, the CarsonCitySchools.com, a calendar then on upcoming events is right there for you. And you just have to scroll to see what's going on, when is the next minimum day. Yeah, tomorrow. It is. It is. And it's all right there on the website when parent conferences are. The calendar then will also take you to, different events that are going on. The Sealiger Pumpkin Patch is it already or is it coming up? And so it's just really kind of nice and easy. So Saturday, the 11th from 9 to 2 is the Sealiger 31st Annual Pumpkin Patch. See, just by 2 clicks and I found it. The one thing else that I want to mention, all of us school board members have designated schools that we then, kind of touch base with. Mine is Empire Elementary School, as you all know. And so they're doing a fall festival on October 17th and are looking for donations. And they're just small little donations, but anything will help. They're looking for small pumpkins, for students to decorate. If anybody would like to donate, please bring them. Please contact me. Little small craft kits and raffle prizes as well for their fall festival, which is at 5 p.m. on October 17th at Empire Elementary School. But we are doing a lot of good things are happening, school activities, the extracurricular activities, the sports are doing well. We even now have cross country at the elementary school. From a volunteer that has started that as well, and it's been going really, really well. And so just know that everybody is working hard, and I appreciate all the teachers and staff. Yep, so that's my report. Any questions? Okay, moving on.
Comment?
Yes.
Real quickly, and this ties in with your school stuff. You may or may not know about this, but one of the PE teachers at Pioneer High.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Tara Thielen has a pickleball event that she does for her students. They don't have gym space to actually participate in a real pickleball session. So this is the second year we've done this with them, but she brings them to Mills Park, and we take up, Jen donated four courts for the use. And she's got a total, I think, of about 60 students. And we cycle them through over a 2-week period. We couldn't participate in all of these because we had to travel out of town, but Juan and I did several of the days. We had a total, I think, of 6 volunteers that participated and helped the students. And these kids really need the help and the exposure, and it was fun. It was fun for everybody and good participation. The paddles that Tara has are wearing out, and we're going to reach out to USA Pickleball. We're ambassadors for USA Pickleball, and hopefully we can get them to provide some paddles. So we're working on that. But it was a fun event.
And they did mention it. We have spokespeople from Carson High, and then it's now Carson Silver Campus. And they mentioned and thanked you at one of their, at the very beginning, to thank you for, and they're enjoying it. They are enjoying it. So, yeah, thank you. All right, anything else?
I have a shout out if we're at members' announcements.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
All right, my shout out. A huge thank you to Mike Freeman and the Carson Aquatic staff, to Jen, to Parks and Rec, everyone for our pooch plunge. As always, it was ridiculous. 165 dogs between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Having a delightful time. Their people had a ball as well. We had big guys and little guys. We had the dogs that don't like the water, and then we had the dogs that wouldn't come out of the water, and we have those that are hogging the ramps, and those, I laugh every year because as kids, remember we were all told, don't run at the pool, and you have these dogs just, and it was fantastic. And we couldn't provide this wonderful opportunity for folks to bring their dogs and play without the support of of your department. And so thank you. And Mike is amazing. I check in and say, okay, let's look at the ramps. Oh, I've got it taken care of. And the crew, they were out there and helping. And, the money goes to help spay and neuter animals that otherwise would not have access to spay neuter, which benefits our community because those are animals then not being surrendered to shelters or running at large. So back to that whole community involvement, it really was a wonderful day of coming together to have a great time. So thank you.
We'll go ahead and move on to 7B, which is the update from the Foundation of Carson City Parks and Recreation Liaison. Do we have someone here?
No, but there's a written report they provided. So.
Right. Yes, and it is online for those of you who would like to see it online. And it is worth the read because the foundation is doing some really great things and helping out the entire community with that. So it is worth the read. All right, so we'll close 7B, moving on to 8A. Do we have any commissioners that would like any future agenda items? When is our next meeting?
In December.
Okay.
Let me look it up really quick.
The first one is the first Tuesday is
Second or something?
December 2nd.
First Tuesday or the third Monday, because one meeting, our joint meeting in June, it follows the Parks and Rec schedule, and then one meeting follows the open space schedule. So
Okay. All right,
it is
so
in December.
we will learn that. It's sometime in December. But does anybody have any future agenda items that they have at the top of their head that they want on that? Okay. And if it comes up later, please go ahead and contact Jennifer with that. All right, we'll close 8A, moving on to agenda item number 9, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Seeing none, we are moving to agenda item number 10, and it is possible action for adjournment. Do I have a motion?
I move we adjourn.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much and have a great evening. Thank you.